Katie from KT Training and Fitness Over 50. I've been meaning to get another video out for a little bit of time now, just to clarify the difference between what we consider a squat versus a deadlift. And if you're not familiar with those terms, don't worry about it. These are movements that are really important to maintaining your independence as you age. They are moves that we need to get off a chair, off the toilet, in and out of the car. And so they are things we want to be able to do no matter what our age is. So the first thing I want you to work on is what's called a hip hinge. And I know I have an earlier video that I probably did about 10 years ago on this. Key thing to remember for a hip hinge, I'll turn sideways, is that your hips just move back and front. They never go down. Now, what we don't ever want to do, and I know I've got a sweatshirt on because I worked out before this and my shirt's dirty, but I'll take it off just so you can see pretty clearly, because the curve in your lower back is going to be important, as will be your knees. We don't ever want to lock the knees back. So you can see when I jam those knees back, it pushes my hips forward a bit. That's going to put pressure right in through those lower back discs. So we always keep the knees just soft. It's not fully bent. They're not fully straight. They're just a little teeny bit bent, soft joint. So my shoulders pull back and down because I want to be rounded. Put your hands on your thighs. Now, I'm near a wall. Great place to practice your hip hinging. So if you start with your feet about 6 to 8 inches away, and I say touch the wall. Now, how am I getting out of this? Notice my knees. They're not straight. They're soft. My chest is above my hips. My chin is up. I'm going to clench and squeeze my butt to come back up. So the hips just go back and up. Imagine you're trying to shoot your hips out the front side of your body. That's the move. You'll see as my rear end goes back, my knees will slightly bend. That's just anatomy, unless I purposely try to lock them, which I don't want to do. So I keep my knees soft. And so this is literally the move. Hips go back and up. Now, if I added weight onto the front side of this, now as my hips go back, I want you to notice where my hips are. They don't change position. What changes is now I've got pretty good flexibility back here. Those muscles can stretch. So I can keep my chin up and I can get my fingertips down pretty far. But notice my back. It is straight. My chin is up. So how am I getting out of this? I'm going to squeeze this and these to pull myself upright. My knees don't bend. I never lower my hips. It's just back and up. So how low you can go with your chest is going to be dependent on how flexible you are in the back side. So if you're not super flexible, you might get here and that's it. What you don't want to do with a deadlift, push the hips back, go down, drop the chin because you're like, oh, I can get lower. Look what's happening with my back here. It'll start to round out. And that's where you can risk injury, particularly when you're working with heavier weights or degenerative spines, which many of us has as we age. Degenerative disc disease can be something that's inherited, but it's also something that can just happen as we age. Those little jelly donuts between your bones and your back, they just sort of they shrink. And so the bones can end up hitting on each other. So we don't want to exacerbate that. So you always keep your chin up. Chin up generally keeps your tailbone up, keeps your back strong, keeps the work where we want it. Now you'll see my knees stay soft. It's just the hips go back and forth. Now, when you are squatting, you're going to start with that hip hinge. So my hips go back, but now that they're back there, I'm going to try to lower them down. So you start with your hip hinge back. Now, notice what happens with my chest here. Very different than with the deadlift. My chest does not come forward. So with a deadlift, I'm back and my chest comes down. With a squat, my chest stays up. So the hips go back and it's the hips that go down and then come up. And how low you go, again, this time is going to be determined with a mobility, how much movement you've got within your joints. 3 joints are involved with a squat. It's why it's such a good exercise. Your ankles, your knees, and your hips. So when my butt gets back, my weight's in my heels. I can lower it down. My weight's still in my heels. My shoulders are still up. Look what's changing position. My bum. My bum is what is going lower. And because my bum lowers, my whole body goes down. But notice where I'm talking to you. My shoulders are still up. They stay above my hips the whole time. My chest stays facing forward. So if you watch, as my butt goes down, my chest is facing the camera the whole time. So what I sometimes see in class, people get the tailbone back. As they start to drop their tailbone, look what happens to their chest. That's where you're going to start to have danger, possibility for the back issue. So the chest stays up. The weight stays in the heels. Again, mobility in the knees, the ankles, and the hips. And you'll notice I can get down here. I worked this. I work it every day when I do those morning wakies. This is one of the positions after I do the standing work I drop into. And that is something because I've got a lot of disc issues in the lower back. And so hip health is really important as we get older. So if you are interested in trying to increase your mobility in your hips, your knees, and your ankles, then that deep squat you can work on. It takes time, but you can find a banister. This isn't going to really work because I've got a chair that's going to move on me. But if you had a banister or a railing you can hold on to, get the weight back in the heels, hold on to the railing as you try to sit down into it. What also happens is because there's decreased mobility in your ankles, and these muscles, your anterior tibialis, aren't very strong. So once we get lower, what happens? We fall back into our tailbone, backwards. So when you see people hanging out, I like to garden this way, but I had to work on that positioning. And so you can work on it. You can work on getting that back and down. Again, very dependent on what's going on in terms of arthritis, hip, knees, and ankles, and all other kinds of issues involved with those joints. All right, long-winded little video here, but I hope you can really see the difference between a deadlift and a squat. And those are moves that we do. We have to get down and pick something up that fell off the ground. If you're picking up a grandchild, if you have one, right? You've got a heavy weight there. You don't want to probably be doing it in deadlift style. You probably want to get down closer to them so you can use these muscles to pull you back up. I hope that's helpful. Stay well. Hope to see you at the gym. Bye.